The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What's up, everyone? Good morning. It is September the 4th, Wednesday, September the 4th, and it's time for another edition of Cowboys Storyline. I am your host, Nick Eatman. We are ready to go. I got the phones ringing in the back. I already have a call there. We're going to get the text line for you. You can text in there, 817-290-3298. We're going to try to get back to that a little bit more. I love the phone calls, but some of you guys can't call. We want to hear from you guys and see your text and get you, able to join the show and contribute as well. It's Wednesday. That means we're just one step closer to the game. Cowboys taking on the Cleveland Browns. It's also the first day of practice. Monday, they did practice on Monday, Labor Day week, but when you get into Wednesday, it's like this is the schedule now. This is going to be the schedule in week 12. This is the way it is. Tuesday's a day off, and then practice Wednesday and Thursday. Friday they do a little lighter thing. Then they have a Saturday morning walk through, and then they'll be on the charter going to Cleveland. And you guys know me now. You know that I don't talk weather. Mickey's got a copyright on that, but for the most part, we try to stay away from that. But I will say this though. It's about 75 degrees out here, and the wind's whipping. It feels like football season. That's what I'm going to say. It feels like football season, so it must be football season. That's all I'm going to talk about. The weather, especially in Dallas when the game isn't going to be played there. It's going to be pretty cool in Cleveland. It's going to be a perfect day. Should be a lot of fun. We'll see what happens in the game. All right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. If yesterday's show felt different or sounded different, it probably shouldn't have, but we did mention in there how we had a new audience joining for that show. And I'll just kind of let you guys know on Tuesday, every Tuesday, we will tape a show for Bally Sports, and it airs on Wednesday nights. If you're in the viewing area for Bally Sports, it used to be Fox Sports Southwest and all that, and it's in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, I think Louisiana region. If you're able to watch that on Bally Sports, every Tuesday show will be kind of condensed down into that, the best callers. So, if it's one of those where you're like, hey, I called the show on Tuesday, I didn't make it. Well, I'm sorry, you didn't make the cut. I don't make that call. I don't know how to edit anything, so you can't yell at me on that. But that's what we're doing on every Tuesday. But back to normal shows today. All right. We do have a line open, so just let you guys know. Want to make sure that you guys want to hear from you. 888-855-2297. Our first caller is Gary in New Mexico. Gary, what is up?
Hey, Nick, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, let's have a little fun, and then I got a serious question for you.
All right, fun first.
So I'm looking on the Cowboys website at the 10 number changes for the Cowboys this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want your thoughts because you have a great knowledge of Cowboys history here. If these guys can live up to numbers they're wearing.
Okay.
So we've got Amane Oruye. I know I butchered that name. He's wearing number 27. So can he live up to the great Ron Fellows?
Ron Fellows.
Is he going to be able to fill Ron Fellows' shoes at cornerback?
Is he going to wear goggles? Is he going to wear goggles like Ron Fellows?
Oh, that is a great point. Emily Johnson, I don't even know who he is, but he's a safety. But there's no way he's going to live up to Tony Dorsett. They gave him number 33.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Vigil's got Charlie Waters' old number, who Charlie Waters should be in the Ring of Honor, by the way. I'll just throw that in there. Darius Harris, number 47. Can he walk in the steps of Dexter Clinkscale?
Yeah. Well, you won't have a better name than Dexter Clinkscale. I mean, Dexter Clinkscale is in the top 5 name of all time.
So. You think so? I don't know, man. Carl Lawson is rocking number 55, the great Leroy Jordan, or even the great Steve Diassi from my junior high years. Ryan Flournoy has got Tony Hill's old number. Now, here's one for you. Princeton Fant, I guess he's on the practice squad, number 85. Can you give me a famous 85 in Cowboys history?
Not a famous one. I mean,
let me rephrase it. Can you give me a number 85 in Cowboys history? I've got one particular guy in mind.
Well, I mean, I always say James Whalen because he had 100 numbers, so I'll say James Whalen or some guy named Thornton Chandler.
I remember Thornton Chandler. No, man, you got to go back to Fred Cornwell. Who caught the winning touchdown pass against the Houston Oilers in 1985.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I can go back, but the biggest one, man, Kalen Carson.
What was the score of that game?
17-10.
There you go. You're right.
Played on the dirt. On the dirt in the Astrodome, man.
Right.
That's old school stuff.
All
right, last one, then I'll ask a serious question.
Yeah, let's go now.
All right, Kalen Carson, number 21. It's a lot of pressure on that young man. I mean, that's a lot of pressure asking him to live up.
Don't say Lynn Scott.
To the great Doug Dennison.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't say Lynn Scott. I knew you were going somewhere like that. That's good.
No, man, the great Doug Dennison, the original number 21, contributor to 3 Super Bowl teams.
Gary, you remember when I said this is the first show of the season, like first practice day, like this football season? Let's go. We're naming names we shouldn't be talking about. Let's go. Let's go to your serious question. You got one?
Yeah, let's get serious. Okay, let's get serious. Okay, I'm excited about the season.
All right.
But we all know it's going to come down to what they do in the playoffs. That's just going to be the bottom line. So my question to you is all of these playoff failures the last 28 years, how much of it do you think is just talent and they weren't the better team, and how much of it do you think is mental? Just the mental pressure.
I think
I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Gary. I think it's both. I believe it's both. And I think it's gotten more with the pressure as the years have gone on. I think those, early ones, they weren't good enough, in certain cases. And then there's been some fluky things happen. And I know people don't want to say that, like, well, that's just an excuse. Well, you can say that if you want, but there's just not that many games in NFL history that have ended that way. And when we're talking about we're talking about rule changes that have happened because of things that have affected the Cowboys in the playoffs. I mean, Tony Romo dropped the snap in Seattle. They changed a rule on that. You can't just have ball boys just open up the bag of a ball that's never been used before, never been scuffed up or anything, shiny as hell, throw it out there and you can't do that anymore. They have people in place that handle the kicking balls. Nowadays, if you catch the football and you move it to your other hand and you take 3 steps and then you dive for the end zone and the ball pops out, maybe it hit the ground, maybe it didn't. That's a catch. That's a catch now. And it wasn't ruled that then. All I'm saying is that they've had some weird things happen in playoff games. Dak getting, hit by the ref running in at the end of the game. I mean, just stuff happens. But the answer, more than anything, is that they just haven't been good enough. I'm going to go off of that. They haven't been good enough to be in situations to not have a bigger lead or be winning late in those games to let it come down to that. It's not an excuse, but you can't deny that weird crap has happened for the Cowboys in playoff games. So it's a combination of everything. But I'll say it. They haven't been good enough. If they were good enough, you overcome some of that stuff. You make those plays in the second, third, fourth quarter, whatever, and you do it. Creighton catches the ball. In that game against the Giants. So they've had some weird moments. They've also just not been good enough. And that's what it comes down to. All right, let's go to George in Delaware. I believe this is first-time caller. George, what's up?
Nick, how you doing? It's George in Delaware. I live in Rehoboth Beach, right near Sleepy Joe.
Nice. All right. Well, it's good to hear from you. First-time caller?
Yeah, you're welcome. First-time caller.
All right.
First time.
All right, we'll get that cranked up here for you because that means here we go. Who's the big teams in Delaware? I mean, who do they root for there? For the most part, is it Patriots or Giants, Jets, Cowboys? Who is it? Who's Delaware?
No, the three you threw out there are not. It's the Eagles. I'm squeezed in between the Skins, the Eagles, and Baltimore. I've got respect for Baltimore, not for the other two.
Okay. There we go. As I type into Chris, like, we got to get it. Here we go for this guy. Here we go. All right, George, what's up, man? What do you got?
I'm surprised they got through, so I'm a little bit unprepared. So I just came up with, I wanted to give you a compliment. You do a great job. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 58. So I go way back to the 70s, and I remember crying in the 70s when they got beat by the Steelers twice. But in the 90s, I went to all the games that were local. I went to Pittsburgh. I went to Philly. I went to the Jets, Meadowlands, Skins, of course. But the worst thing and Cowboy fans, you got to be kind of courageous to go in some of those venues. But the worst place I ever was at was in Pittsburgh, believe it or not. I I saw some crazy fans like cold cocking people from behind, old senior citizens in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh was the toughest. When I tell people that story as compared to Philly or the Skins, they're kind of surprised. But I was wondering where the toughest place has been for you when you travel with the team, Nick. And thank you for taking my call.
All right. Well, thank you, George. And we've I haven't experienced a lot of that. I will say this though, standing on the field at Veterans Stadium in 2000, the Cowboys were playing. I think. Yeah, Randall Cunningham was the starting quarterback for the Cowboys that day against Philly, and the game went to overtime. And I remember being on the field at the end of the game, and weird stuff was happening there, and the Cowboys lost that game. But I remember something kind of hitting me in the back of the leg, and I looked down, and it was a battery. And I'd always heard about these. They throw batteries. Now, this was a AAA battery that somebody chunked and didn't hit. I mean, it just barely kind of hit me in the foot or whatever. But I was thinking, I thought that was kind of a myth. But no, it really was a thing. And then a few years later, going to Philly on the bus, just hearing on the windows, just 6 or 7 eggs just hitting the bus. That's about it. That's as far as that I can remember. Things like that. I mean, nothing too crazy, but both in Philly. Shocker. All right, let's go. Champ in Nebraska. Champ, what's up? Champ, are you there?
Hey, here I am.
What's up? Let's go.
Happy NFL kickoff eve, Nick.
We're going. We're ready to go.
Yes.
It's football season.
Hey, so I listened to yesterday's show. So much excitement. Everybody's pumped up. So much optimism, positive optimism. And I hate to be the guy to get on here and kind of bring it down a little bit, but personally, I don't see those 13 wins, 12, 14 wins that we heard about. Kind of thinking we're going to be in that 10-7 range. But I think we sneak into the playoffs, and I think maybe we make a little noise there. Battle tested, and we'll make some noise this year.
Yeah.
My question for you is, every day that's passing by with this Dak contract not happening or extension, does that worry you at all? Personally, kind of worries me a little bit every day, thinking that potentially the season starts, he's not re-signed. I know they have the whole season, get it done, but a lot of times they say you don't want to worry about that during the season, just want to play. Do you think if it doesn't happen by Sunday, percentages rise quite a bit that he's not our starting quarterback next year? I will hang up, let somebody else call in, and listen to your answer.
Thanks, Champ. I'll say this. I think the percentage goes up, as the season goes on, slowly. But I'll ask you this. Do you think that at some point Dak is going to, whether he's at the team hotel in a game or leaving a game, or if he's out and about somewhere, do you think he'll sign any autographs by anybody? Do you think he'll just oh yeah, hey Dak, sign my jersey? You think he'll do that? Okay, that's not going to change his focus on anything. He'll sign an autograph. He'll do this. He'll take a picture. He'll do that. That doesn't affect his mental makeup for the Browns or the Saints next week or all that. My point to that is when the other guys get it done, whether it be Jerry and Steven and his agent and all that stuff, when they get that thing done, Dak, this is where we need to be. Sign here, please. Here you go. That's what he needs to do. So this whole talk about focus and all that, Dak's not in the meetings. He's not sitting there breaking it down. Guys, I'm sorry I missed the quarterback meeting today. I'm sorry. We're trying to negotiate that. That's not happening. That's not going to happen. When it's done, he'll sign it. They know what they need to do. They'll get it done. If you want to worry at Monday. If the Cowboys lose and the deal's not done, start to worry if you want to. I mean, I'm not suggesting it. I'm saying if that's when you want to worry. I personally believe a deal will get done before the season starts. I'm going to stick to that. That's what I think. That's what my hunch has been for a while. And I believe the deal gets done. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. And if they win the game, hey, it didn't affect anything. But you can make that narrative if you want. if they lose the game and now what's the deal and all that stuff. But then again, if I know Cowboy fans or any people that cover the NFL, if they don't win the game, he probably didn't play his best game, and then people are going to say, well, he doesn't need to be the quarterback anyway. So we know that's going to happen. That's why, for that reason alone, I'd get this deal done. Just so every interception, every touchdown, every play that happens isn't tied to a contract. A 350-yard game in Cleveland with 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a win. Oh, the price tag just went up. Oh, they should have signed him. And if it goes the other way, it's going to be the same thing. We know that. For that reason alone, I'd get this deal done. All right, I got a couple of text questions I want to read. This is from Bill from Pennsylvania. What do you think the Cowboys' record is going to be? Also, do you think if Dak didn't have a no-trade clause, would the Cowboys be trying to trade Dak? No, I don't believe that. I don't think they're trying to trade him. He can waive that. I mean, he can figure out he could get traded if they really wanted to make that happen. So I don't think that's the biggest thing there. What's the record? I'm with the last caller that kind of I'm in that 10-7, 11-6 range. And if it doesn't go well, have a little bit more injuries, it could be in the 9-8. I still think this is a really good team. I think it's going to be close. I think these games are going to be a little closer than they were before. I mean, you saw the Cowboys with a stretch where they were kind of blowing teams out at home there, especially in the division. I just think that games will be tougher. But I like having a kicker that you can trust, that's going to make kicks, that can make long kicks, that you can hit some pressure kicks. So games are going to come down to that, and that should help the Cowboys when you have special teams. I mean, I think special teams is going to affect this team. They've got a Pro Bowl kicker. You've got a Pro Bowl punter. You've had a kick returner that's been in the Pro Bowl. New rules and a dynamic player and interpret and maybe Deuce. So I think special teams is going to affect a lot, and I think that'll help them win some games. If you ask me a number, I'll say 11-6. I'll say that 11-6 for this year. All right, another question. How about first show of the season, Nick? Do you have a regular season prediction? This is Mario in South Texas. I'm going to say 11-6. Good question there, Mario. All right, let's go. Robbie in Cocoa Beach, Florida, on the phone line. Robbie, what's up?
Good morning, man. How are you today, my friend?
Good morning. How are you?
Let's go Cowboys, man. It's a new year.
Let's go.
Every year.
Definitely.
Hey, man, I asked you yesterday, and I'm still fumbling around with it. My only real concern, I mean, obviously the rookies that we got on offensive line and linebacker and cornerback, but I'm still worried about a running back rotation. I mean, I wonder if you're still right if we don't have them on the team yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really hoping we'd have picked somebody up at the end of at the cuts, a free agent or something, an undrafted free agent or something.
Well, I mean, they got better than that probably, and Dalvin Cook. I mean, you wanted an undrafted,
so?
Better than an undrafted free agent that got cut by his team.
Okay.
I mean,
fair enough.
I mean, better. You're talking about a guy that didn't make his own team. I mean, at this point, you're going to be looking at, just a player that can, that's done it, that has some experience, that can maybe be an every down type guy. And I think.
You think that's Dalvin Cook? And he hasn't looked good with the last two teams he's been on.
So okay, what would be the option then for you? What 3 down?
No, I don't know. I'm asking you. You're an expert.
No, I'm not in this. I'm saying the point is that there isn't one. There's not one sitting there for running backs aren't just sitting there waiting for you. I mean, they're what they need to do to really to find a running back. Block these guys up front. Get them blocked up front.
If our line's good, we're going to be good running back team.
Rico Dowdle could be a really good-looking running back if it's blocked well. And I think Zeke, I don't know if his explosiveness is there, but he's going to do the dirty work for you. He's a guy, he's going to play a lot more. He's going to be doing pass pro. I mean, he's a guy that you trust as a blocker. So they're going to get this thing done, but if they block it up front, I think they're all going to have some success.
All righty, Nick. I appreciate it, man.
All right.
I hope your boy does well this season at center, and let's go Cowboys.
Let's go.
12-5, man.
Couple of rookie centers that we'll be focused on this year. Probably one more than the other. There's no like shotgun snapping in flag football or whatever. All right. Good stuff. We're going to take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Don't miss another exciting soccer match in Arlington, Texas, as Mex Tour is back. It's a showdown between the Mexican and Canadian men's national teams. That is Tuesday, September the 10th. Tickets on sale now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium. All right. Speaking of AT&T Stadium, Cowboys will play there in week 2 of the season when the Saints come to town. But first things first, we're not to jump ahead of anything. We don't do that here. We don't jump ahead to the playoffs or anything like that, or even week 2. We don't have to. It's Wednesday. It's game week. We can talk about the Cleveland Browns and the matchups that the Cowboys are going to face there. It's funny when you think of that team. I think the 3 players that people probably think of the most are Myles Garrett, number 1. And then, from a Cowboys standpoint, obviously you think about Amari Cooper being there, and then Deshaun Watson, maybe not in that order, but when you're talking about what worries you, hey, you got Kalen Carson there as a rookie, never played before in the NFL. He's going to be facing those receivers, including Amari Cooper, one of the best route runners in all of football, and then of course Myles Garrett there at the edge rushing position. And let's be honest about it. Okay, just because he moves to the other side and faces Terrence Steele, that doesn't mean that we're good now. Terrence Steele's. But I love Terrence Steele, but he's gonna have his problems too with anybody. With anywhere that Myles Garrett is, those guys are gonna have problems, and that's something Dak is gonna have to figure out every snap. Where is he? Where's the protection? Where's the help coming from? And making sure that those guys are on the same page of who's helping Guyton or Steele or wherever that guy lines up. All right, we got a question here from Mark in New Jersey on the text line. He goes, I love the additions on the defensive line. Why would the Giants trade us Jordan Phillips for almost nothing? I wonder if there's something they know about him that we don't. I don't know that. I don't know for sure why it wasn't working out for him and for them there. And these guys, you have to be honest about it. And you have to be honest about most free agents that are out there, or in this case, traded, veterans that are traded. There's a reason why they let him go. And sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's just scheme fit that doesn't work. There could be a lot of things, but let's not forget the fact that teams have signed Jordan Phillips and Linval Joseph here in the last few years, and they've had him for 1 year. So got to figure out, why are teams not signing him, and why are teams continuing to sign him? And that's the situation that you have to figure out with all free agents. You can say the same for the guys that left. There's a reason the Cowboys didn't re-sign Tyler Biadasz and Dorrance Armstrong and those guys, and there's a reason why they got money. So everybody kind of views it differently. Jordan Phillips, it could be a scheme situation there for the Giants. They did sign him, but for whatever the reason, it didn't work out. And so I think he's going to be a really good addition for this team. What I saw from him in that preseason game against the Raiders had me encouraged of what they could have there in the middle of the D line. All right, let's go to Jim in Pasadena, California. Jim, what's up?
Good morning, Nick. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. I'm talking defensive tackle. Partner, it doesn't sit well with me that they got rid of Justin Rogers. He was picked in the 7th round, outplayed his draft position, showed up very well every preseason game, and then they cut him. And it bothers me because if you draft a position that you knew you weren't going to keep, he outplayed his draft pick, why waste the pick on that position? And it doesn't sit well with me, and I'm trying to make sense of it.
Go back again. You're saying he outplayed his draft position?
I think he played as a 5th or 6th round pick in the preseason. He showed up better than Mozzie Smith did last year in the preseason, or even during the season.
Yeah.
Justin Rogers, if you go back and look at end zone copy and eye in the sky copy, he did well this preseason. That's why Cincinnati snatched him. So if you draft that position, and no matter how well he plays, you're going to get rid of it, that's a wasted pick. Otherwise, this draft is gold. But I just don't understand that.
Well, I mean, you don't go into the draft expecting to waste the pick. You expect him to go in there and play, and I just think from what you saw and what this team saw, it was obviously different. I mean, I'm not discrediting what you saw. If what you like is what you like, but let's not forget that he had plenty of opportunities because Mozzie Smith was out some. They ended up adding. Look what they added on the defensive line.
I would say this, Nick. Brian Broaddus has said the same thing on the break. He just can't make heads or tails of it.
Okay, again, no disrespect to you or him. That they're seeing it more. They're seeing it more than what you guys are seeing, to the point where they felt like they had to go get Linval Joseph. They felt like they had to go trade for Jordan Phillips. They ended up getting Hoskins there from on the practice squad. He'll probably play some. So whatever you were seeing there, they decided to put him.
Would you agree Cincinnati saw the same thing? That's why they picked him. They plucked him off the free agency.
Is he on their roster?
He's on the
No, he's on their practice squad.
Okay, he's on the practice squad. He's on the practice squad. That means he could have been on the Cowboys practice squad as well. And he either chose that or I don't know if the Cowboys even put him on the practice squad, to be honest with you. So
they didn't have a chance to. Because he got plucked before you could name your practice.
Listen, that's not.
Unfortunately, that's not how waivers work.
Chris.
It is. All I'm saying is he outplayed his 7th round pick.
To who?
I mean, let's put it like this. Who was the defensive tackle they picked last year? The guy that then went with Washington Redskins?
Yeah, Ridgeway 2 years ago.
Ridgeway. Yeah. He outplayed Ridgeway, and they kept Ridgeway.
And until they didn't.
Put him on the practice squad, and Washington plucked him. Well, all I'm saying is if the kid played well, and Chauncey Golston, what's he done? I know they played different positions. Chauncey's an end now. But holy cow, that was a 3rd round pick a few years ago. Justin looked good. If you just look at all 22, he looked pretty darn good.
They didn't agree. They didn't agree. I mean, and I don't know if you're an Auburn fan. I mean, I don't know what the love there for Justin Rogers. But and that's another thing too. If you kind of know the rules, then that'll help you with the conversations. But if you don't know them all, if you don't know every part of how the thing works, then it's hard to have an argument with you on that, because that isn't true. What you're saying is they didn't have a chance. What do you mean they didn't have a chance? They could have kept him on the team. They didn't do that. And then teams don't just pluck you off they can't take you from the practice squad and put you on the practice squad. It doesn't work that way. If you're on the practice squad and they take you, they have to put you on the roster, and you have to stay there for 3 weeks. So it's not like it's a situation where you could just if the Cowboys wanted Justin Rogers on the team, he could have been there. He could have been on the team. That's not the case. He didn't outplay. You thought so, and maybe you're letting other people's eyes, affect you. I don't know. The guys that have him in the meetings every single day and watch every single snap of practice in 4 different angles, they don't view it that way. They said, I need to get veteran help. We need to be better here. Obviously, when it comes down to playing, they didn't want to put him in the game. No disrespect to him, but they didn't see it the same thing that you see, so that's fine. And the rules are that these other teams didn't just go and snatch him up. That's not the case. There were 2 players claimed off waivers, and they weren't him. There were 2 defensive backs. One of them was Eric Scott, and he's already been cut. So he wasn't claimed off waivers. He was put on the practice squad for the Bengals. All right, let's go to Maurice in Tacoma, Washington.
Hey, good morning, Nick. 2 days in a row. I'm on a roll, buddy.
There you go. Keep it going.
Hey, so a little bit more Dak contract talk. First off, I think we should really sign him right away. I see him getting us 12 wins and at least to the NFC Championship game. And unfortunately, I think that puts him closer to the $70 million mark. But I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Let's say, for some reason, God forbid, he goes down, misses 4 or 5 games, or just doesn't have a great season. Do you think Jerry decides to maybe just go ahead and let him go, or do you think that maybe that bring the price tag a little bit down on Dak? I'll hang up and listen to you, brother.
Yeah, that's one that you don't want to have to. You don't want to talk about like scenarios like that do change things. I mean, that's why I think it's very important. That reason alone is why I think it's important to get a deal done if you're the Cowboys. Dak. I think Dak knows that the money's going to be there, that they'll get a deal done. And if it's not here, it'll be somewhere. I mean, I think he feels very confident in that and just the way quarterbacks get paid in this league, and he understands that. Now, yes, there's some factors involved during the season. That's why you want to get these deals done, because factors on for both sides. The price tag can go up or down depending on what happens and the wins and the losses or injuries and all that stuff. So I'm not going to get into different scenarios. Well, it would go to this or that. I think we all know that if you let this thing go into the season, you run the risk. You run the risk of saying, well, the tag could go up if he plays really, really well, but that's a good thing for you and your team, your organization. It could go down if he doesn't play well. That's not good for the team. It may be good for long term. It's very cloudy. It's a cloudy situation, and to get ahead of it like that means you got to get ahead of how the season goes and who's winning and why are they losing or why are they winning. Let's don't get into that. We just know that if you run the risk if you don't sign him early on, and both sides are running the risk. That's part of it. All right, let's go to Rob in Vegas. Rob, what's up?
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, listen, you can't blame Justin Rogers' agent for doing his job. Listen, I never heard of somebody really, fighting for a guy that I don't even remember what he did.
I don't know. I don't. He didn't stand out to me. I don't know the situation. We don't have to revisit that again. That's fine. There's a lot of talk about players that aren't on the football team today. Let's focus on the ones that are.
Looking at this team did everything we've been asking. They got bigger. They got stronger in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
They got bigger at linebacker. Diggs is back. I think the key to the team, honestly, is Tyler Guyton. We've seen what happens when we have a left tackle that Dak doesn't trust. It speeds up his process. Things don't go good. BB is going to fight, and BB is able to get a little more help from 2 great guards, where there's going to be times where Guyton's on an island. If Guyton could play good to very good, I don't see why this team can't be better than last year. I think Ferguson should be better. When you look, I know it's all on paper, but people forget this is the second year now under the offense. I think the light bulb went off in Dak's head last year, and I just think now, for whatever reason, it's like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. He just sees it now differently. I just think this team, if they stay healthy, knock wood, I see this team being, 12-5 again. They're going to just do it maybe a little different. I think running the ball, I don't need a great running back. I just need them to be efficient. Get me 3rd and 2. It'd be nice to 1st and goal from the 5 and just run it in.
Sure.
And I think we've always said, Biotic, good player. It's funny when they leave the Cowboys, all of a sudden now they look at him like he's Travis Frederick. Anybody who leaves the Cowboys is always elevated. And that's why you hear these people on ESPN, well, the Cowboys ain't going to be good. They lost too many players. You didn't think those players were good when they were on the team, and now all of a sudden. So I just think with Overshown back, I just think they have a lot of parts. And listen, there's guys that want to, the coaches want to prove Jerry wrong. I think you're right. I think that gets done in the next couple of days. I don't know what this deal is, signing him to 2 years. That doesn't sound right. Why would you do that? And that would be a slap in the face to Dak. He's not going to do that. I think it gets done in a couple of days, $58 million or so. But yeah, I think everybody should be excited. I think this team has a good energy. They got a lot of young, and they still got some veterans. I just think they're all fighting for each other now. They're fighting for the coaches. They're fighting for Dak. I just think this team's got a good energy about it. I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, Rob. I think, I've said this before. That's why you're the captain on the All-Storyline squad. A lot of people look up to you. A lot of people look at you as the voice of reason on kind of, if from the fans' perspective on things, on if you're frustrated, then they kind of sense that. And but we all do. We all see that. But we love the optimism from the fans, especially this time of year, and why wouldn't it be? You're talking about the players in free agency that are lost and all that. Just remember that somebody told me this not too long ago about free agent deals, and I think this is the way the Cowboys kind of think is, I've said this before on here, but the philosophy that they go by is average players get good money in free agency, and good players get great money in free agency, and great players never see free agency. They don't get to free agency. Not here. The Cowboys. So that's the point. If they felt like they were losing a great player, they wouldn't lose them. They felt like maybe they were losing a good player that's going to get great money. They don't want to pay a good player great money. So that's kind of when you look at what happened in free agency. Yeah, they lost a lot of, in their mind, good players, and some of them average players that got a lot more money than they were willing to pay. So, all right, let's take a break. Our last break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back with more calls and texts.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, it's time to nominate yourself or someone you know as the Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year. Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Somebody that you know you can nominate to be the 2024 Fan of the Year. Win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys. All right. The next call, actually, I have a text line question here. This is from Joe in Stamford. He says, I see Deuce Vaughn being used best as a first and second down threat. He is a running back and should be used that way. Will we be surprised on his workload early in the season? I can't tell you if he's going to be active yet, but I think he will be. I think that they're going to use him as a kick returner. The way the rules are now, if you really got to understand the rules, that this is one of the biggest rule changes to the game that we have seen in a long, long time. Like, we're talking about not tweaks here and there. This is actually, I mean, the alignment, you've seen it, it's different. And we haven't even seen the new wrinkles yet. And so there's a big difference just on how the ball is kicked. It can go from the 20, it can go to the 30, it can go to the 40. If you don't get it in that landing zone and get it out of bounds or short of the landing zone, it's going to be at the 40. If you boom it out of the end zone, it'll be at the 30. And if you can line drive it and roll it into the end zone from the landing zone into the end zone and they down it there, that's the 20-yard line, and that is ideal. Now, you can have 2 returners back there, or you can only have 1. If you only have 1, as fast as Turpin is, you could still probably angle it where it's bouncing around, and the smart thing for him to do is probably just let it go in the end zone. That's the 20-yard line. To prevent that, 2 returners back there. And those 2 guys, I think, will be Deuce and Turpin. Now you have a decision to make. Do you want to just kick it out of the end zone? Do you want to kick it to one of them? See what happens. I just think he's going to play. To answer the question as well, I think he needs to play where he needs to play. It's not first down. It's not second. It's third down. It's everything. If it's 3rd and 9 and you think you got a good play for him, do it. He needs to run the ball up the middle as well. He can't just be a trick guy. He's got to be a guy that does everything, or nobody will take any of that seriously. If he's on the field and it's 3rd and 3 and they want to give him the ball up the middle, he can do it. Now, he's not going to make a living doing it, but every once in a while, you got to make him honest. I think he's an every down back when he's out there. I'm not saying he's 3 downs. He just, when he's out there, he needs to be able to do what's asked of a running back, and I think, to your point, I think he can do that. All right, Sean in Bakersfield, California. Sean, what's up, man?
What's going on, Nick?
How are you?
It's been a long time since I've been wonderful, man. I just want to say congratulations on the 25 years.
Thank you.
It's been a while since I called, but I just, hearing all this defensive line talk and everything, I wanted to make a point, about the line in general on both sides of the ball. I'm excited to see these rookies on the offensive line push the defensive line. I'm excited to see how our running game is. Finishing the ball on the 1-yard line or, getting in the end zone. I really think that the Cowboys improved offensively on the line, and defensively, we finally got our tree trunks in the middle of the defensive line, and I'm excited to see our linebackers fly across the field. I think we're going to be a better defense than last year, and I'm going to say now, Nick, I really think Dak Prescott is going to be MVP this year. The offense last year was his first time with Mike McCarthy, and he had a phenomenal season, and I just think he's only going to get better. I think people are sleeping on these rookie receivers. I'm more excited about this year. That's all I wanted to say, Nick. Go Cowboys. God bless.
All right. Thank you, Sean. I'll say this. If you think if anyone in the organization also thinks that Dak Prescott is going to, win the MVP this year, you better get that contract done. Because I'm telling you this, if he's the MVP of the league, you don't have a deal, man, forget the 60s. You might be setting all kinds of records with new deals and all that. But it's great to be excited about stuff. There's a lot to be excited about. I think as Rob said just a couple of calls ago, anything negative that happens, it's easy to kind of pinpoint and say, well, this happened, they lost this guy, and this guy got hurt, and now Deron Bland's hurt, and all this stuff. I think really when you just look at it, look at the depth chart. Just go to the website and look at the depth chart. Look at the team. Look what's on the look at the backup players. Look at, obviously your starters, and just go down the list and say, this we've got talent here. I mean, there's talent here. There's a reason why they've won 12 games 3 years in a row. There's a reason for that. And a lot of those reasons are still here. So there's some good things to be excited about. I think the defense is going to be better. I think that Zimmer, when he's been a defensive coordinator, he's been good. He's been really good everywhere he's been. He's got guys in here that know his system. So I think that there's a lot to be excited about there. All right, let's go to Derek in Seattle, Washington. Derek.
Hey, morning, Nick. Good to listen to you. Hey, one of the reasons I'm super excited, I haven't heard much talk about it, is the wide receiver room finally has some juice. I mean, the last couple of years it's been CD, and I mean, Gallup could basically run two routes, the long bomb down the sideline and the fade, but Tolbert, Brooks, and you throw in Turpin, man, I think the receiver room is getting overlooked. CD's going to be awesome, but we got 3, 4, 5 deep now that the ball can be spread around, and these guys can make plays.
Yeah.
So I think the receiver room is going to be really good this year.
Yeah, and I think you can credit, as long as CD comes back and there's no injury. I mean, he is back, but as long as he plays well, there's no issues with any rust or anything like that, then you can credit that and go, man, the work that Brandon Cooks got at training camp as the number one, and the work that Brooks and Tolbert and Turpin and Flanoy got really helped them. So same as was last year with Zach Martin and the guards that got more reps. I think the case can be made. The receiver room looks better. I don't know if there's like track star speedsters, but there is guys that can get by the defense, and that's really all you're looking for.
Yeah, and they can run a variety of patterns. I mean, I was so tired of Gallup he always knew what he was going to run. So all those guys can run. They're interchangeable, I think. So it's going to be a good year, my man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Thank you. Big year for Tolbert. Big year for Jalen Tolbert, third year. He needs to be that guy. That's what Michael Gallup was, third-round pick from Colorado State. He's the third-round pick from South Alabama. This is your time. This is your year. You need to do it and be ready to go. And I think that Tolbert has done a lot of work in the offseason. He got a lot of reps with Dak. And you can just kind of tell that they're on a different level too. Same with Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks might be looking to have a really big year. And again, there's not a lot of, there's only one football to throw around. So, but in Ferguson, you expect more from him too. So not everybody, is going to have a huge numbers, but can you make the play when it's time? In that game against the Giants last year, what did Cooks have? Like 170? That's what the Giants were giving them, and that's what they took. And you got to have guys that can do that. There'll be games where Ferguson is the one that's going to keep getting the football. And when that happens, you got to be able to exploit him. Last caller here. Let's go Sebastian in Savannah.
Well, excellent timing. Good morning. How you doing, sir?
Good, bud. How are you doing?
Doing real good. I'm going to be quick because I know you got to get out of here. I'm looking at the schedule. I love the optimism of all the fans giving it the 12-5 for the fourth season. I personally can't go there. I'm going about 10-7, right? I like that with our schedule, the strength of schedule this year. And I don't care what the record is as long as we make it to the playoffs at the end of the day. Really looking forward to this first game here. I feel like there's going to be a lot of gelling that still needs to go on because we haven't seen too much in training camp. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of moving pieces right now as far as the running game. We're going to go up against some teams with some decent secondaries, too. So this running game is going to have to eventually come to roost,
Yeah.
So I'm giving us 10-7. I want to wish everybody a happy weekend and happy belated Labor Day. I don't know if I called in before and said that, but you guys have a great day, and I'm out.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it, Sebastian. I mean, the gelling part, that's something all teams have to figure out because you're right. You don't play as much in the preseason. Some teams played more. I felt like there were teams that had their starters out there more than the Cowboys. I just saw that more, and that's fine. That's kind of where they are in their development. They needed to be out there. The Cowboys have a different philosophy. We'll see where it matches in Week 1 with the Browns. They're a different team at home. I mean, last year they were 11-7 overall. They were 8-1 at home and 3-5 on the road. So 8-1 at home, and one of those wins was against the 49ers when they looked really, really good at that time of year. And they beat them at home, and their only loss, I believe, was to the Ravens, who handled them pretty well. But they're obviously really good at home. Week 1 is Cowboys in town. It's gonna be amazing. So the challenge is there, especially when you have two rookie offensive linemen, one of them being your center. Getting the calls down and hearing doing all the silent counts. That's going to be huge for the Cowboys. All right, those are things we can talk about tomorrow as well. Appreciate Chris Beam running the board in the back. I'm Nick Eatman. We will see you tomorrow on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?